Hey guys, it's Bear Clark here from Bear Loves Film, and today we're going to look at Alien Covenant. Now, I am a huge Aliens fan. I would say that Aliens is probably my favourite film of all time. Years ago, I actually ran the international fan club for Aliens for a few years and organised two very large professional Aliens conferences. Conventions rather in England, so I'm a big fan. So I was very excited when Prometheus came out, and obviously it wasn't the sort of alien film I was expecting, but I still enjoyed it. It was a very well made film. Stupid characters and some lazy writing, but otherwise a good film, and obviously a bit of a xenomorph tacked on the end. So Alien Covenant was very much advertised as being an actual proper Aliens film. It was released in May 2016. It made around $166 million worldwide on a $97 million budget. So it's reasonably successful. Not a massive success, but it made its money back plus a little bit after all the advertising costs. Now, Ridley Scott obviously is an amazing director. We're talking about Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, Blade Runner, the very first Alien, obviously. An awful lot of credits to his name. Black Hawk Down as well. A very good director. Has a beautiful eye for cinematography. He's certainly, along with Spielberg, one of those directors who's got an eye for a beautiful shot and how to really bring the audience into the screen. So with Alien Covenant, we have a bunch of colonists sleep on a ship on the way to a very distant planet in the hopes of recolonising, with one android on board, or synthetic if you want to call him that, Walter, who is obviously played by Michael Fassbender, who played the original David in Prometheus. Fassbender, amazing actor. Doesn't really seem to draw the crowds that a lot of people would expect for someone that's that good as an actor. He's not really a box office draw, but he does a pretty darn good job. And then we have Catherine Waterstone as Daniels, who quickly becomes the main focus of the film when things go wrong and the crew is woken up. Now, one of the problems with the crew is that they're all supposed to be couples, pretty much, including a couple of gay guys in the security team. But unless you watch the little snippet prequels that were put out on areas like YouTube and on, you wouldn't know it. And I think that was a big mistake. I think they could have done with making the film another 10-15 minutes longer, putting those little prequel slips in about what happened after Prometheus and what is the dynamic in the crew of the Covenant ship. It would have added an awful lot, I think, to the dynamic and made you care more about the characters, because otherwise they do come across as quite underdeveloped, let's say. Now, I have to say that Billy Crudup's Oram was a very interesting character, infuriating as a captain and as a leader, but it was very interesting dynamic about him having a faith, and the reason that he believes in faith and how he holds true to that. But I also love the way that Daniels reminded him that when he's coming down hard on the crew, that this isn't just a crew. When we colonise, these are going to be your neighbours, and it adds another dynamic which I thought was again very interesting. Now, as I say, Covenant was sold very much as an alien film. Now, yes, we have the Xenomorphs in there, and we have some few derivatives of there, etc. as well. But what happens is with Covenant is they fall into this trap of, which is what I'd really sort of leave down to very low budget horror films, which is that the characters are pretty damn stupid. They do stupid things. Landing on a planet that you haven't you've got no surveillance on, you've never known that existed until a few hours ago, and you arrive there with no breathing apparatus, no protective gear on. You stick your foot in anything that comes along. You sniff flowers and plants that you have no idea if they're toxic or not. And it's the other sort of tropes as well, where someone has to just go off on their own to have a piss, or someone's going to go and have a shower and that sort of thing, which basically is just saying, right, okay, you're the next person to die. Now, when people die, It's well done. The visual effects are very good. The gore is enough to show what it needs to show without being gratuitous. And we have a film which basically takes us along a path where we feel like we're going through an Aliens film, and it's actually billed as an Aliens film. But it becomes quite clear, particularly when we find David on the alien planet and his interface with Walter, is that this is very much a film based around the synthetics. We're not really looking at the aliens, although the aliens are there. They're an ongoing threat. They are discussed. There's drawings, there's designs that David has made over the years regarding the aliens and different types and almost prototypes of aliens. But it becomes very clear that we have a film where the whole idea of playing God and the synthetics and what does or doesn't make them human is very, very central to the theme. We see at the very beginning of the film that where Walter is trying to David is originally finding his identity and looking at the Michelangelo statue of David as something to aspire to. But even then, the seeds are sown that you could tell that David's thinking, well, surely I'm evolution, I'm what will replace and outlive humans. So when we get to the planet and things start happening, people start dying, shit goes down, shuttle gets destroyed, etc., we have a film where we have an ongoing narrative that pushes us towards a climax. You know where this film is going. I think that's one of the problems. It's nice to go into a film and get pretty much what you expected, and if you're going into an aliens film, you're expecting people stuck on a spaceship being hunted down and slaughtered by an alien or aliens. So the concept is there, but unfortunately they've made it in such a dumb way, in the way that the characters are portrayed, that we have no sympathy with the characters. And as a really hardcore, I would say, Alien fan, I really take exception to the route they took with this film. They really took apart the mystery of the aliens. One of the draws about Alien and Aliens is the fact that we never really knew where they came from. Were they just a naturally occurring, particularly aggressive alpha predator? Or speaking of predators, there's also the fan idea that maybe the predators even designed and bred the aliens so they could hunt them as part of their initiation of approaching manhood or whatever the equivalent is for a predator. But with David being the creator, if you like, of the aliens, it takes away a lot of that mystery, and also there's some pretty gaping plot holes in there. And the aliens are different from what we see in Alien, which is a film that's supposed to come on later after this Alien Covenant. We have the ridiculous marionette type puppet that comes out of the chestburster of Orem. What's wrong with the chestburster from the Alien film? That was far more effective. Okay, the special effects now look a little bit dated, but for dramatic effect and to keep the lore that we have and that we have established and that is canon in the films, I don't see why they needed to change that and actually have something that comes out and then starts mimicking David as if it's actually his or its father. Some of the plot twists are really not twists. As soon as we see David cut his hair to match Walter's, we know straight away that there's going to be a swap, that one of them is going to die and only one of them is going to get to the very end of the film, and that one is going to be the bad guy. That's going to be David. Walter's going to be cast aside at some point, and apparently the crew isn't supposed to understand or know this or predict this, even though the audience will from the moment that David shaves his hair. When we get to the final act of the film, we are very much along with Daniels and Danny McBride's character, Tennessee. And Danny McBride, I think, did surprise a lot of people by doing a much better job than I think people expected him to do. As somebody coming from a comic background, I thought he was very good. And Daniels, as a sort of Ripley light, if you like, sort of poor imitation of Ripley, but still with someone who's going to stick an alien out of the airlock. We have, at the last act, we have some real tension with the chasing down of the corridors, etc. We do get some of the rush that we want. I think that showing the alien too much, and particularly showing it in daylight, took away some of the mystery of it. Even though the special effects were very good, I think it's still a creature that benefits from being mostly in the shadow. And the final act, where Daniels is going into cryosleep and suddenly realises what the rest of the audience realised 40-50 minutes ago, was that Walter is actually no longer Walter. Walter is is David. That was very well done, and if it had been a well-hidden plot twist, it would have been really impactful. The look on Daniel's face when she suddenly realises that she is completely helpless, locked in a cryo tube, with David in control of the ship, and all of the colonists who she was responsible for keeping alive, the look of dread in her face really shows, and I think that the actress did a very good job. Unfortunately, there's some very sloppy writing, there's very little character building. Some scenes are ridiculous. I mean, obviously, it's anyone that's seen it can't forget the "I'll do the fingering" comment. I mean, the whole cinema burst out laughing, and I'm still not sure whether Ridley Scott actually meant that to be a laugh out moment or not. So the cinematography is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful looking film. It's a well-made film. It's certainly, you can tell straight away it's made by someone like Ridley Scott who knows his craft. But it's lazy writing, stupid characters that do stupid things, pretty much wrecking of what we know, or at least we believed we know, about the aliens, and how they came to be and the threat they are, and the real strong feeling that Ridley Scott wanted to make a film about replicants. He wanted to make another Blade Runner type film with the idea of creation and God, and that he felt that he had to throw in the aliens there to bring in an audience and just to push along the android plot. So for me, Alien Covenant was a huge disappointment. I was very, very disappointed with it after loving most of the other Aliens films. Alien 3 has its problems. Alien Resurrection wasn't brilliant, and the two Aliens vs Predator films are not particularly well received by fans, but I was very much looking to this, and I was very disappointed with Alien Covenant. So I'm sorry to say, Alien Covenant, but I give you a B-. So thanks very much, guys. Remember to like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.